Hello there again. This is Steve with Be That Homestead and Apiary, and today we're going to talk about the life cycle of new berry plants and as they're getting established. And I'm in a unique position here that I have plants in several different stages of growth. So what we're going to do is go to each one and talk about it and discuss the pros and cons of plugs from tissue cultures, planting them, and also planting their bare root plants. So let's get started over here where I have some year-old tissue culture plugs. This one here has been struggling for quite some time and hasn't done very much in the year that it's been in the ground. This one next to it has done a little bit. It's starting to get some good growth on it. This one here next to it has just exploded with growth. And this one over here is about like the second one. And these were all tissue culture plugs. And if you're not familiar with what that is, it comes in a little plug that looks like it came out of a Dixie cup, and it's got a little sprig of a plant sticking out of it. And that's what you get as opposed to the bare root plants. Now, this entire row over here was bare root plants. This one was planted this past year, and it didn't do very much in the way of putting out new growth to anything, but it's putting out some nice canes now, which the other ones didn't do. These have been in the ground established for 2 years, and they were the bare root plants. And in the first year, I've noticed that they put out these tendrils that come out, but no canes. And all of my berries that I made this year, this is the first year that I made some, they all came out on these tendrils. And as you can see, there's some back there, still got a few berries on them that way. But they started making canes now. These tendrils are pretty weak and they blew all over the place. But you'll look at these canes. This one is as big around as my finger for sure. It's about a ½ inch thick and grows on up there. But that's what I want to be seeing from now on. This cane is a primocane on a fluorocane producing berry. Now there are two different types of plants. You have the primocane producers, and they usually have prime in the name, like Primark Freedom or Primark 45, something like that. And then you have the fluorocane producers, which are just the they just have a regular Indian name, like the Washita and Natchez and Navajo and the and of course this case Ponca, which are my berries. And they produce on the second year growth only, which in this case the first year grew out as these tendrils, and this they produce berries, this being their second year, but they're finally producing canes that get pretty good height up. So that's what I did on my last video. I showed you was pinching off the top of the cane so they didn't get too high, and this was one of them that I pinched a couple of weeks ago to make it start producing canes. Let me go around the other side so we can get the sun on it instead of into the lens. And well, this was one also that I pinched off since then, and it's made 1, 2 little laterals, and it's got one starting to grow out here. But this is one that I pinched on camera, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 laterals that's grown out on it so far. So they're doing well. And those laterals are where most of the berries are going to come from, the new growth on the ends. This one is getting, I pinched it off at down here, and it's got laterals going up another foot. When those laterals get about 16, 18 inches long, I'll pinch off the end of them, and some of them will even make laterals on themselves. So there'll be more space for the berries. But over here, I put in a couple of these tissue culture plugs, and this one just went nuts. And it hasn't put out any so much for canes, but it's put out these tendrils that have come out on it, and these will fruit next year, and then it'll start putting out canes of its own. See, these tendrils are very different from canes. And I'm coming over here and show one that I had the same tissue culture planted, one right behind the other, minutes apart, and that's what it's done right there, just that. But next to it is a new growth coming up from the roots, so that's going to be a new plant for me to move over to some place where where I lost one. I lost a lot of those tissue culture ones. I contacted the seller at Pence, and he replaced them all for me. But since then, I've lost a couple of more of them, and I'm just going to replace those with shoots that come up from the other plants. And I've got to go through here and weed these and put down some mulch. But some of these tissue cultures have just gone berserk with their growth, whereas the others, like that one there again, has done nothing. This one has gone crazy with growth, so it'll produce me a lot of berries next year. That one, I hope it'll start putting out some canes next year for me. Again, here we have another one that's done pretty good, but in between have some that just need a little bit more growth on them. And over here, more of the tissue cultures that they're growing and surviving, and that's about all I can say about them. But the tissue cultures that I had over on this other side, over here, now this whole row was those tissue cultures, and they didn't do hardly anything. Then I got the bare root replacements and put them in down here. And this is where the bare root replacements started. And this is of course, the first year of them. And you see there's the original stalk on that bare root. And they're doing fairly well. There's a blackberry in that mess somewhere. I'm going to pull that crap out right there before I leave here today. That needs to get some air to it. But this is what I've got. This is what you can expect. That's what you'll get on bare roots the first year, and those will grow out over the summer to long tendrils like that and the other ones that I showed you. And then next year that'll make berries, and it'll start making your canes. Now this one looks like it's trying to throw out one little cane right there to get started with next year, and that would be great. That appears to be a cane and not just a little tendril. It's even got a little lateral on it. But that's what you expect. That's what I got. You see, these are the where the tissue cultures died out on me that I have to replace. And there's several blank spots in my rows over there that I have to replace. So as they grow out into the places where I don't want them, I'll dig them up and put them where I do want them. And that'll complete my rows for me. So if this is any help, if you have any questions, comments, put them below. And please like and subscribe if you'd like me to make more of these. And I will be happy to see you on the next one. This is Steve at Be Dat Homestead and Apiary with the Ponca Berries. And we are out of here. Thanks for watching.